welcome you to the December 12th episode of Laid Back History's 2024 Advent Calendar. Let's see what we're going to talk about today. So when I think about the National Road and I think about the bridges that were built, normally I think about stone bridges. I think about the S Bridge near Taylorstown, or down in Elm Grove. There's still a bridge that was built by Moses Shepherd that is continuing to be used today. I think about these stone bridges, and you can see them as you go along the National Road today. A lot of them are still in use. They're still around, or at least there's remnants of them left. But what we're talking about today is a covered bridge. Not only a covered bridge, but the longest bridge along the National Road in Pennsylvania. It had to span the Monongahela River, and that is from West Brownsville to Brownsville. So when the road was originally built, the way people got across was from a ferry. That ended up being the main transport across the river. But as travel picked up, it was seen that a bridge was needed. And so by the early 1830s, the Monongahela Bridge Company was formed with the purpose of building a bridge over the Monongahela River. And that would have been completed by 1833 at a cost of $37,000, which is quite a bit at that point. And the bridge would be 630 feet long. So it's a big bridge. And not only is it a big bridge, it's a covered bridge. They built a wooden covered bridge. It's a 3-span covered bridge. And it's interesting to look at when you look at the photos of it. It's a cool looking bridge. And it's really kind of iconic. It stands out in these photos. And it had a long lifespan. It was used all the way to the early 1900s. It wasn't until, 1910 that it was torn down. So think about that. I mean, it has an 80-year lifespan for a wooden covered bridge that's 630 feet long. A lot of traffic went across this thing. A ton of traffic went across it. The downfall of the bridge was that by the early 1900s, it was deemed to be too low for boat travel. Boats were getting bigger, and they determined it was too low, and a new bridge was going to be needed. The thing I find interesting is that the Monongahela Bridge Company tried to sell the bridge to the city of Brownsville, which they turned down. And so the government steps in and deems this bridge to be unsafe and too low, and so it has to be torn down. So it's torn down in 1910, but there's no new bridge yet. They hadn't made any plans for a new bridge. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that. They had been trying since, I think, 1906. Congress had been working on getting a contract to build a bridge, and so they had allotted money to it. And yet there was no progress made. I mean, by 1910, there had still been no progress. So they had to renew things. But you don't see a new bridge open until October of 1914. That's when it's actually dedicated. So there's finally bridge travel across the Monongahela again. So what did they do in the meantime? They go back to a ferry. So prior to the covered bridge, ferry travel is the main way across the river. And then right after the covered bridge, ferry travel once again becomes the main way across the bridge. But then finally they build the steel bridge that you can still drive over today. And it's completed in October of 1914. So that in itself is a historic bridge, but it doesn't compare to the covered bridge. When you look at the photos of the covered bridge, it's just beautiful to me. I think it's a great looking bridge. And so maybe today we'll end with just a little bit of a slideshow of some pictures that I found of the bridge. But I will see you tomorrow for another episode of Laid Back History's 2024 Advent Calendar.